Welcome back to another episode of the Bear Trap on the Boomer Bust channel, a Bears podcast by a Bears fan. I'm your host Terry, and today gonna talk some Bears on this Saturday afternoon before I head out and go see my rugby team, my alma mater, play. So anyway, like I said during the recap, I wanted to rewatch the game because I mean there's a lot of moving and shaking going on. That's my fault, not prepping properly. So I missed the first drive heading back home, and then so I saw the game, but it was a lot going on, and it was like what is happening right now? So I had to take a moment to go back and digest it to make sure I understood what I saw. And I'm gonna talk a little bit about that, but then want to talk some other Bears topics as well as the future. So anyway, back to the Commanders game. So you might not be very excited to hear, but it's pretty much what I thought during the recap. And so I just want to make sure and get clear, get a little more details and everything. So some of my big takeaways, I'll repeat what I said. The offensive line, outstanding in terms of the competition and what you thought you might get. One person that I got to give a huge shout out to is Nate Davis at right guard. And I wouldn't necessarily say I was wrong because I didn't say anything, but there was a lot of talk about his performance against Denver in terms of pass blocks and all that. And I already told you, Pro Football Focus, I don't listen to any of that stuff. I don't really know why people quote it and everything. Not to say that it couldn't potentially be good, but they don't tell you how they measure anything. And people that just quote stuff and don't know how it's measured is wild to me. So anyway, I didn't give it any credence because it's Pro Football Focus. Plus, it's the Denver Broncos. Again, who you play matters. So Denver Broncos weren't doing anything against anybody, so their defensive tackles going up against Nate Davis, I didn't really care about. But to give him his credit, I would say for most of the night, he gave all the smoke to Daron Payne. And Daron Payne, honestly, as we start to get up there, Jonathan Allen has completely separated himself from Daron Payne in terms of their level. There was talk at once they didn't know who's going to be better, but Allen separated himself, and Payne's turning out to be just pretty good, but still an amazing athlete. And Nate Davis gave him the smoke. He gave him the smoke in the pass game, especially. It was very impressive. Now, what I said about Washington's D-line, I still believe. The second half, they changed it up with some blitzes, and Chase Young definitely changed up the way he attacked. Again, I don't know why he keeps taking the inside. I don't know. It feels, as much as I say we don't know what's going on coaching-wise, when it comes to fundamental things, that's a problem. I always remember Mel Tucker, and I used to call him a bad coach and everything. And my biggest thing was we weren't gap sound as an NFL defense. The basic fundamental things that I teach it to freshmen, we weren't even doing. And so that to me is a sign of bad coaching. Not say you don't know football or anything, but coaching and teaching is different than knowing football. And so I just thought we were poorly coached. So to see Chase Young, them diving inside, giving Justin Fields the edge and everything, a lot of it seemed, just undisciplined. I'll say that much. But anyway, in the second half, they started using more speed and everything. Daron Payne got Nate Davis a couple times. But for the most part, they played bully ball. And I don't understand. With the horses they got, they chose to play bully ball, and we held up really well. So, credit to the O-line, like I said, and big credit to Nate Davis, who I would never have thought he would have showed that type of ability. And so to do it against Daron Payne, you got to give him his credit. So there was that. And then defensively, I think first half especially, Sam Howell really made the defense shine. And I think Sam Howell, to be honest with you, looked pretty good, exciting. Rewatching it, especially in the second half, he looked pretty exciting. And I'll get to him a little bit later, but in that first half, he was just taking off. And I can't see downfield. I wasn't watching all 22, so maybe it was nothing downfield. But there's a couple times that the coverages looked like they just got the best of him, and he was just taking off, killing the play early, and just seemed very unsettled. And so that led to 2 straight punts while we had 2 straight scores. And I think really that was the thing of this game, is that we did the work early. Now you could say the same thing happened with Denver, and we know what happened. But that to me, I mean, it's execution, of course, but it's also the coach. As a coach, you got to manage the game a certain way. But when a team gets down like Denver, and honestly like Washington did, they start letting it rip. And I think after that halftime, you adjust to what you're seeing, but then you start letting it rip a little more as a quarterback, and you get some better results. So, but that first half was really what established everything. This game, if I had to boil it down, besides just our offensive line versus our offensive line was the main thing, and then our secondary was the main thing for defense. But if I had to boil it down, it would be those 2 things, and this was a game of big plays. It was a game of big plays in the first half, because the first half set the tone. Like I said, we had 3 straight scores. They had 2 straight punts, and then they got a field goal. And so now the score is already changed. Now the game plan, the play calling has changed. Field position changed, and then the late interception before the half added on even a bigger, margin for the Commanders. So all that was the first half, and then in the second half, to be honest, we looked a lot like we did all year. I mean, overall we did, if you really look at it. But as I say, winning cures everything. But if you really watch it, Justin's issues were still Justin's issues. The offensive line, like I said, played really well. Towards the later end of the game, it started to get a little more sloppy, and they started to win a lot more. But even throughout sometimes in the first half, you could see where the pressure. Now, Justin didn't make a big mistake, but you see where the pressure killed our plays prematurely. The first drive where we punted, it was evident. Like, we were not blocking well. Justin couldn't get anything off. It was done. And so you see that throughout the game. Throughout the game, one thing that stood out to me when I was talking about Sam Howell, go back and watch. Watch Justin Fields and Sam Howell, and you will see 2 completely different players in the pocket. Justin Fields had time, and he hit some open targets. That's what I've been saying since day one. Shoot, take it back to Mitch Trubisky. I've been saying that. Like, you give a quarterback some time. Again, the secondary is not going to hold up forever, and their secondary was not playing well anyway. But, people say the play calling is bad. Nobody's open. No one can get separation. Everything. And a lot of that's true, but the biggest thing is Justin didn't have time. Now, Justin had time just where he gets to just sit at the top of his drop, make a throw. But watch when the pocket is not clean. The man pulls it down and runs, or he goes right into a sack. If you watch Sam Howell stands in that pocket, ready to make a throw, or he's moving throughout the pocket, manipulating it to make a throw. It is impressive. And to be honest, I mean, there's certain things I remember about his report, but I don't remember exactly what I wrote about his pocket presence, but it is impressive to watch. It is 2 different quarterbacks. I'm telling you, watch it. You can see Sam Howell has a feel for the pocket, and some of the big plays he made, like I said, that's only plays that you're going to make in the pocket. And so when you're talking about being down or trying to come back, a 2-minute drill, that scramble around stuff, the broken play stuff, not always going to work. But that in the pocket where you got to hang in, take a shot, or you got to manipulate by yourself an extra second to hit a strike downfield, man, Sam Howell was ripping it. And it's just interesting. Not saying he's better than Fields or nothing, but it's just interesting to watch, because Fields, that's why I noticed he's still stuck at the top of his drop. And he's going to run, and that's it. He's not going to move the pocket. He's not seeing the pocket. And so you still have those issues. And then, to be honest, DJ Moore bailed him out a lot. So If you if you listen to the episode where I broke down the interview from Josh Lucas, I started at the end to tell you how I evaluate quarterbacks. What's the first thing I said? Arm velocity. And so velocity, like I said, for a long time I didn't really understand the importance of it, and then I had to realize that that's the base level that will get you out of a lot because you can't teach that. So yes, you might have some quarterbacks that are smart and know, XYZ, but as we've seen in the league, once that arm starts to go, it creates a lot more issues. Velocity is something that you can't teach, and a lot of coaches feel like if you had that, then we could build on the rest. It doesn't always work out that way, but it's important. And this game shows you that. So the last touchdown to DJ Moore, where Fuller I quote unquote gambled, and DJ made a great catch. Don't get it mistaken. But Fuller drove on the ball. Moore caught it, turned around, ran to the end zone. And then the other play on the right side of the field, where it was again the same simple stop route, and the rookie barely missed it, and then Moore took it down the field for a big gain. Those type of plays, if you watch, they are like within inches. And even the touchdown to DJ Moore where he made an amazing catch over Fuller, those are so close. And you hear, I'm sure you watched it, I'm hearing the announcers, they're so close. It was so close. That velocity that he has, that I told you he throws with A+ velocity. If he did not have an A+ velocity, those plays are broken up. Now, it's not going to be intercepted or none, but those plays are broken up. It's that half a second that matters. As I keep telling you, football is a game of time and space. There's only limited of it. And so that half a second or whatever it is, I'm just guessing a half a second, but that half a second, that half an inch, that matters. That matters so much. That's the difference between a receiver, a good receiver like Moore, being able to get the ball and it getting broken up. And then once he gets the ball, he's able to make play with it. So those are just some examples. Like it was a couple plays that it was just like Justin Fields, that weren't smart throws, I would say. But because he has the arm to do that, he had the arm, it worked out. I wouldn't say do that on the regularly, but it worked out because of the velocity that he has. So obviously they did some more creative quarterback design runs because like I said last week, everybody's like, look at the design runs. They literally didn't do anything. These were a little more creative, a little better, and definitely got better results. But it was big plays in the second half, man, or really throughout. The Commanders just had a bad game plan. Like I said, once you get past the D-line, the linebackers, especially the secondary, they just were not at the same caliber as the D-line. The D-line couldn't carry them. But it was one point you saw Herbert ripping off big gains. For some reason, they were in the 33, so they had 2-3 techniques, and they just had the middle of the field open, or the middle of the box. And you got two linebackers there, but they're not linebackers that's really filling down hard like they should. And so we were just ripping them. And it was, you probably saw the same play multiple times. But of course, I won't complain this week because, we won. But there were some weird play calls. There was definitely some offensive line miscommunications. There was all the issues we had before. The difference is we gained first downs, number one, because we kick a lot of field goals. But we gained first downs, again, to have time possession, to give ourselves a chance to score. And plays weren't immediately dead, or passing plays weren't immediately dead in the beginning. And so that gave us time to execute some things. So I probably went on that longer than I wanted to, but I just wanted to go back. But it was essentially what I thought it was. But it was interesting, some interesting details rewatching it. And like I said, kudos to Nate Davis. All right, so with that being said, I actually have not went too deep into or at all into Bears Twitter and all that to see what people are saying. I think I might have saw like one thing, which of course it was all you Justin Fields haters, how you sound now. So it was funny because guess who said this? Shannon Sharp. Because when Shannon Sharp says something, or Michael Irvin, or one of those guys, it means something, even though it's something I've been saying forever. So Shannon Sharp was like, I was listening to the recap, and he said he's tired of when it's a bad game, it's all the coordinator's fault. But when it's a good game, the quarterback gets all the credit. Like it was in spite of the coordinator. Like Getsy was trying to screw Justin Fields all game, but Justin Fields had to overcome him in the defense to have a good game. And that's the narrative that people build, casual fans of sports media, and it's like I said before, it's so stupid because at the end of the day, this is a team game in a lot of ways, and the way you want to break up credit and blame, 100%. There is a way to break up that pie. Not from sitting at home, not from sitting in the studio. Only people that's sitting in that building, on that field, in those meeting rooms can accurately do that. But that's not for us to do. That's for the team to correct and get right. But obviously people want something to talk about, so it's like, who we got to blame? Are we blaming Ryan Poles? And then it's never a percentage. It's everything. Is it all Ryan Poles? Is it all Eberflus? Is it all Getsy? Is it all Fields? Somehow the O-line just escapes out of this conversation every time, but whatever. So I don't know what's being said outside of the typical, probably, people trying to stick up for whoever. For some reason, people want Fields out. Some people are diehard Fields fans, all that. So the question, of course, that has gone around, and I didn't listen to not a sports media, besides, I guess, Uncle Shay, but that's the nightcap. But I didn't listen to none because I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. It's only week 5 and I can't take it. The discussions are so idiotic from national media because they have no clue what they're talking about. They don't know what they're talking about in football, and they also don't know what they're talking about when it comes to the Bears. It's just what's on the outside. Like Stephen A., that was the one I tried to listen to. Stephen A., the first thing he said, well, we all know it was never a problem with Justin Fields. The Bears destroyed him. I was like, all right, turn this off. Because Justin Fields has absolutely had his issues, as I've talked about before. It is a collective thing. But anyway, so the future, what are we talking about? First of all, I said the other day, maybe it was Twitter, I don't remember where, but the whole conversation about Caleb Williams and everything was ridiculous. I thought it was absolutely ridiculous. We were 4 weeks into the season. You have 17 games, and people talking about what we're going to do. Who should we pick with number 1 and number 2? Like, you talk about prisoner of the moment. Forget, philosophy-wise and all that, which I'll get into. But just on this, just the surface level, to have a conversation about the draft in April when we're sitting in October is insane. So, like, whatever. You might not thought we would blow the Commanders out. You might have thought we won. A lot of people told me last week they thought we were going to get blown out by the Broncos. So, essentially, you could have had 2 straight wins. And as I said, our schedule is not super hard. We're going to have some winnable games. So, we already got to win. So, when someone asks me, actually like the first or second week, do you think we had number 1 and 2 pick? I'm like, man, I don't know. You know how far that is? Like, I would have to look at the Panthers schedule, but I know our schedule ain't super difficult. And the Panthers in NFC South, so they're going to have some winnable games. And so we might end up with the 1 and 2 pick, but we'll deal with that when we get there. Right now, I just thought it was crazy to talk about that at this point. And now, it's one of those things where people have to see it to believe it. Like Justin Fields, I talked about this all the time. Once Justin Fields started running, people are like, whoa, he's fast. I'm like, he ran a 4.3. Like, what did you think he was? Like, you didn't see him run? Like, we knew he was fast, but, because we didn't watch him run, he's not fast. CJ Stroud, we haven't seen it to the Georgia game, but, apparently he could run. Like, are you serious? Are we being serious? Like, but it happens. It happens a lot in sports. For some reason, if people don't see it, they act like it doesn't exist. even in, the transition to the NFL, which I get with quarterbacks somewhat, but still, even that's ridiculous. Like, you'll have rookies do something like, oh my God, wow, he ran a great route. Man, he ran great routes in college. Like, what are you talking about? All the like that is what he can do. It ain't like it was something brand new that wasn't in his profile. Like, so, but that's what happens a lot with football. So now it's like before, of course, guess he has no clue what an offense is. He doesn't know football, couldn't play Madden, couldn't draw up a run play. This dude's an idiot, all that. Justin Fields, terrible, absolutely can't throw the ball, can't do anything but running. He's a running back. Offensive line couldn't block a soul, blah, blah, blah. So, again, as I always say, it matters who you play matters. And so now that we got two opponents that gave us opportunities to showcase what we can do, now people all of a sudden like, okay, I seen it. Now I believe you can do it. And so I don't know what the fans are being swayed to, but the conversation all year so far has been, what does the future look like? I mean, I don't know if they were going to fire them if they lost. To be fired in week 5 is idiotic. I don't care what anyone says. I seen some people say, yeah, it doesn't matter who you bring in. You just need to get these guys out. That's so stupid. This locker room has never been toxic. The players have never been on the field looking defeated, or besides Justin Fields, but they don't come out there and just not play. Like, you got 4 guys on the D line who aren't good pass rushers. That's just not their skill set. But they've been better than last year. They've been pushing the pocket, and I told you, and we've been seeing that, especially Thursday. And then in the secondary, when healthy, we were playing really good coverage, and even the backups playing good coverage. It wasn't until this game, after getting worn out, that they finally started showing some busted coverages. But everything's been solid on that side. And yeah, the offense has been anemic, but you know that they're trying. So I don't know if they're going to fire him or not. I think that would have been ridiculous. So the question about, are they still going to get fired? Should they get fired? They should finish the rest of the year. If they want to make a move after that, that's up to the Bears. Okay, fine. I personally don't think that makes sense. I don't think this 2 years or 3 years, it's silly. It takes time to flip a roster. It takes time to build a culture. That's me personally. That's probably my coaching bias. But if you are going to make a move, do it at the end of the year. Let the people finish the season. You gain absolutely nothing by firing them right now. So in terms of Fields, Caleb Williams, all that. So number one, I don't know what Caleb Williams is going to do in terms of his threat to not come out. Number two, I haven't watched Caleb Williams closely, so I'm not here to evaluate him. My thought, and I might have said this, I might have posted this, is that it would be silly to get a quarterback and a receiver. So you would have, let's just say Marvin Harrison is pretty good as a rookie. So you have another, I guess you let Mooney walk. So you got DJ Moore, who we know can be a number one. You got Harrison. Then you have Caleb Williams. You get rid of Justin Fields. So now 2 first-round picks are gone. So maybe we get a lineman after that. Maybe a defensive lineman, who knows. So now you still got a defensive line that doesn't rush the passer. And you got an offensive line that potentially could have Caleb under pressure all the time. That makes sense as as the direction. I don't agree with that. I think too many teams worry about trying to get the quarterback and not the rest of the team. And it rarely works out. I mean, you could say Cincinnati worked out. Obviously, Joe Burrow gets hurt his rookie year, so he can play. He gets hurt, so you can't win games, and you get to go get Jamar Chase. So even if you want to use the Bengals, we don't have that level of receivers that he has. So we can't even really use that as an example. But most of these teams, especially ones that are winning, those are teams that build up the roster, and then they were able to get a quarterback somehow. And so For me, I'm like, you build up the trenches. I've already had that conversation. But whatever it might be, I don't know this draft class yet, but whatever it might be, get good players, get a good roster. Instead of trying to tank the roster to get a quarterback, bring in that quarterback, ruin that quarterback, and then try to build the roster around that quarterback. That has not worked. That doesn't make sense to me. Instead, you do what Philly does. You do what Kansas City does. Those people, you build up the trenches. You start to get good players in, and then the quarterback situation will come later. But of course, nobody wants to wait. Nobody feels safe doing that. They just got to roll with it. So that's my thing, whether you keep Justin or not. So the question is Justin the future or whatever. All I've already said, Justin did not show me anything different on Thursday. And I know that might feel weird to say after the last two games, but that's where you really got to watch the game and know the game. Um, who you play matters, and even if you get a Nate Davis playing better against a much better defensive lineman, okay, that happens. That's good. But who you play matters as an overall unit. So you go up, I don't want to take it to the extreme, but I will. You go up against the 49ers. Do you really think that we'll be able to execute the same way we did against the Commanders? No, it's going to be a different game. And so it's a game. What's funny is in the playoffs, it's a game of matchups. That's what they say. But in the regular season, for some reason, they just don't think that's true. But football is the exact same. It's true. The matchups matter. So I say that to say that, yeah, again, you had two teams that gave you opportunities to showcase and be more effective. But it wasn't anything new. It wasn't anything that I didn't think Fields could do. It wasn't anything that I didn't think the offense could do. Besides the offensive line, going toe to toe with that D line. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I don't really care what happened with the O line. The fact is, you gave him some time, and he was able to make plays. Yes, when he runs, we know he can make plays. When he improvises to save a play, we know he has that ability. We know what the arm velocity is like, and we know what it's like when he's trying to read coverages and manipulate the pocket. It's not good. So he's got ways to go. Now the question has to be the one mistaken narrative that everybody has. Everybody's narrative is, why are you trying to make Justin a pocket passer? No, actually, that is the actual question. Can Justin become a pocket passer? This is not why you're trying to do it. The question is, can he do it? Because if you're talking about being a quarterback where, you're going to do some quarterback runs and you're going to do some read options, some RPOs, you're going to run the ball, play action off of that, look for some big plays. And once you're up, kind of keep piling on. Yeah, that's nice if you are the 49ers or the Cowboys or something like that. But do we have that defense? No, we don't. And will we always be in games where we're able to front run? No, we won't. So the question has to be, I know the channel troll isn't going to love this, but it's the perfect comparison, and that's why I continue to talk about it. That then you become Lamar Jackson and the Ravens. And when the Ravens could not get a lead, or if the defense couldn't shut somebody down and the offense had to be the front runner for the team, it never went well, especially in the playoffs. So that's the question, is can you get Justin to that point? Because if I'm sitting in the GM seat, and again, hopefully they can watch these games and be like, yeah, we knew Justin could do that. I would look at this roster and I would say, it'd be tough. It's tough because I don't know what the other quarterbacks look like. But I would 100%, if we got a high pick, or it's just the Panthers pick, or if it's both, I would 100% be considering a new quarterback. because I don't know that Justin can rise to the level that we need him to. And I say I don't know as in I'm not there. I really don't know. But that's the question they have to be asking themselves. Because if you feel like you have a quarterback that can play how high level quarterbacks play, then you might want to go that direction only because you got two picks and you got a lot of capital and money. So you could build this roster up pretty fast, but that really depends. Now, in a quarterback hungry draft, pretty much like last year, you could offer up both those picks, get a lot of ammunition, and really build this thing up. So for me, if I'm sitting here with my limited information, I would probably go towards building this roster because it goes back to what I said. I do believe that when you got, first of all, you got a lot of years to hold on to Justin. And when he's done, you want to make sure the roster's at a point where you could bring in a quarterback to be successful. So that would be my focus, just because we lack so much talent on this roster. That my focus would be bringing in skill positions and trenches and getting that fortified. So that's probably where I land at. Anyway, that's it for me. Go down the comment section. Let me know what you think. What do you think about the Bears going forward? Justin Fields, Ryan Poles, Eberflus, all them. What do you want to see? What do you think about Thursday? Share it around, get a conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and remember, stay up and bear down.